On a quiet night in the year 2045, something strange happened at the Deep Space Listening Station in New Mexico. Jane Lopez, a young scientist, was about to end her boring night shift when her computer started beeping loudly. "What's going on?" she muttered, rubbing her tired eyes. She looked at the screen and gasped. The station's deep space probe, Voyager 3, was picking up a signal. Not just any signal, but one that was clearly not natural. Jane's hand shook as she called her boss, Dr. Chen. "Sir, I think we found something. Something big." Within hours, the quiet station was buzzing with activity. Scientists from all over the world flew in to study the signal. They worked day and night, trying to understand what it meant. After a week of hard work, Dr. Chen called a meeting. His face was serious as he looked at his team. "We've decoded the signal," he said, "and what we found is troubling." The signal was a message sent by a group called the Galactic Council. At first, this seemed exciting, proof of alien life. But as Dr. Chen explained more, the room grew quiet. The Galactic Council wasn't a friendly group of aliens wanting to say hello. They were a powerful organization that controlled much of the galaxy, and they had a dark secret. "The Council," Dr. Chen said, his voice shaking a little, "is using child labor on a massive scale. They're taking children from different planets and forcing them to work in terrible conditions." The room exploded with questions and angry shouts. How could this be happening? Why would advanced aliens do such a terrible thing? Jane felt sick to her stomach. She had a little brother at home. The thought of him, or any child, being forced to work like that made her angry. Dr. Chen raised his hands for quiet. "There's more," he said. "The message wasn't meant for us. We intercepted it by accident. It's orders for a new shipment." Everyone understood what that meant. More children were about to be taken and forced to work. "We have to do something," Jane said, standing up. "We can't just sit here and let this happen." Dr. Chen nodded. "You're right, but we need to be careful. The Council doesn't know we know about them. If we act too quickly, we might put Earth in danger." Over the next few days, the scientists worked with world leaders to come up with a plan. They decided to keep the discovery secret from the public for now. They didn't want to cause panic. Instead, they started a secret project. Its goal was to build better spaceships and weapons. They knew that one day they might have to fight the Council to save the children. But they also knew they needed more information. They couldn't just attack without knowing more about the Council and where the children were being held. So they made a bold plan. They would send a small team into space to gather information. It would be dangerous, but it was necessary. Jane volunteered immediately. "I want to go," she said. "I need to see this for myself." Dr. Chen looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, but you'll need training, and we'll need to put together the best team possible." As the meeting ended, Jane looked out the window at the stars. They had always seemed so beautiful and full of wonder to her. Now she knew that among those stars, children were suffering. "We're coming," she whispered. "Hold on. We're coming to help you." As she turned away from the window, Jane didn't know that her words were truer than she realized. The signal they had intercepted was just the beginning. Earth was about to be pulled into a galactic conflict unlike anything in human history. And it all started on that quiet night in New Mexico, when a young scientist named Jane Lopez heard a beep from a computer, and humanity discovered it wasn't alone in the universe. The Earth was buzzing with activity. In secret labs and hidden bases, the world's best minds worked day and night. They had one goal: to reach the stars and find out the truth about the Galactic Council. After months of hard work, Earth's governments created a special team. This team had the smartest scientists, the bravest soldiers, and the most skilled spies. They called themselves Operation Starlight. Captain Sarah Chen led the team. She was tough, smart, and cared deeply about helping others. With her were Dr. Aiden Kumar, a genius in alien tech, and Major Tom Jackson, an ex-Special Forces soldier. One day, they got their orders. "Your mission," said the UN Secretary General, "is to sneak into a planet controlled by the Council. Find proof of their crimes against children." The team nodded. They knew the dangers, but they were ready. For weeks, they trained in secret. They learned to use new tech that could hide them from alien sensors. They studied alien languages and customs. They even changed how they looked to blend in with other species. Finally, the day came. Operation Starlight boarded their ship, the Shadow Whisper. It was Earth's most advanced spaceship, built just for this mission. As they left Earth's orbit, Captain Chen looked at her team. "Remember," she said, "we're doing this for all the kids out there who need our help." The journey was long and dangerous. They had to avoid Council patrols and sneak through space that no human had ever seen before. But after 3 weeks, they reached their target, a planet called Zarthul. From orbit, Zarthul looked beautiful. It had purple oceans and green lands, but the team knew that under its pretty surface, ugly things were happening. They landed the Shadow Whisper in a thick forest, far from any cities. As they stepped out, they felt the alien air on their faces for the first time. It smelled sweet, like flowers they had never seen before. "Okay, team," Captain Chen whispered. "Let's move." They put on their disguises. The advanced tech made them look like Zarthulians, tall, blue-skinned aliens with 4 arms. Then they started their long walk to the nearest city. As they got closer, they saw huge factories. Smoke rose from tall chimneys, making the sky dark. They could hear machines working day and night. At the city's edge, they saw their first alien children. Small blue figures, moving slowly, carrying heavy loads. Their faces looked tired and sad. Dr. Kumar's hands shook as he recorded everything with a hidden camera. "This is worse than we thought," he said softly. Major Jackson's fists were tight. He wanted to help the kids right away, but he knew they couldn't. Not yet. For days, the team explored the city. They'd pretended to be traders, asking questions and learning more. Every night, they sent secret messages back to Earth, sharing what they found. They learned that the Council took kids from many planets. They forced them to work in factories, mines, and farms. The children never got to play or learn. Many got sick from the hard work. One day, they found a way into the biggest factory. Inside, they saw hundreds of alien children working on machines. The noise was loud, the air was dirty, and the kids looked scared. Captain Chen felt her heart break, but she also felt angry. She knew they had to do something. As they were leaving the factory, they heard a small cry. In a dark corner, they found a young alien child. She was hurt and alone. Without thinking, Major Jackson picked her up. "We can't leave her," he said. Captain Chen nodded. "We'll take her with us, but we need to move fast now." Alarms started to sound. Someone had seen them. The teen ran, holding the child close. They raced through the streets, their disguises flickering. Council guards chased them, shooting strange weapons that made the air sizzle. Just when it seemed hopeless, they saw the forest where they had hidden their ship. With a final burst of speed, they made it to the Shadow Whisper. Dr. Kumar worked fast, starting the engines. Captain Chen and Major Jackson strapped in, holding the alien child safe. As they lifted off, laser beams shot past them. But it was too late for the Council. The Shadow Whisper rose into the sky and then into space. As the ship raced away from Zarthul, the team looked at each other. They were tired and scared, but also proud. They had done it. They had the proof they needed, and they had saved a child. Captain Chen smiled at the sleeping alien girl. "We'll be home soon," she said. "And then we'll come back for the others. All of them." The Shadow Whisper sped towards Earth, carrying hope for a better future. The Shadow Whisper raced through space, carrying the brave team from Earth and their unexpected guest, a small alien child they had rescued from Zarthul. As they flew, Captain Sarah Chen knew they had a big choice to make. "We can't just leave the other children behind," she said, looking at her team. Dr. Aiden Kumar nodded, his eyes still on the alien child sleeping in a makeshift bed. "But a rescue mission wasn't part of our plan. It's too dangerous." Major Jackson stood up, his face set with determination. "We have to try. We're their only hope." After a long talk, they all agreed. They would go back and try to save more children. It would be risky, but they couldn't live with themselves if they didn't try. They turned the ship around and headed back to Zarthal. This time, they had a new plan. They would use the information they had gathered to sneak into the biggest child labor camp on the planet. As they got closer to Zarthal, they could see more council ships in the area. The alarm had been raised after their escape. Captain Chen guided the Shadow Whisper carefully, using all of the ship's stealth technology to avoid detection. They landed in a different spot this time, closer to the labor camp, but still hidden in the thick alien forest. The team prepared their gear and disguises. This time, they added weapons, set to stun, not kill. "Remember," Captain Chen said as they left the ship, "our goal is to free as many children as we can and get out fast. No unnecessary risks." They moved through the forest quietly, their disguises making them look like tall, blue Zarthulians again. When they reached the edge of the camp, they saw high walls and guard towers. Inside, they could hear the sounds of machines and the soft cries of children. Dr. Kumar used a device he had made to hack into the camp's security system. Alarms went silent, and cameras turned away. "We have 20 minutes before they notice," he whispered. Major Jackson led the way, using his military skills to take out guards silently with stun weapons. They made their way to the main building where the children were kept. Inside, the sight broke their hearts. Hundreds of alien children from different species were crammed into small rooms. They looked tired, hungry, and scared. Captain Chen spoke in the alien language he had learned. "We're here to help. We're going to get you out of here." At first, the children were scared and didn't believe them. But when they saw the team taking off their Zarthulian disguises, showing their true human forms, the children's eyes filled with hope. Working quickly, the team began to lead the children out. Dr. Kumar used his tech skills to open locked doors. Major Jackson carried the smallest children who were too weak to walk. Captain Chen kept everyone calm and moving. But just as they were about to reach the exit, alarms started blaring. Their 20 minutes were up. "Run!" Captain Chen shouted. They raced towards the forest, hundreds of children with them. Behind them, they could hear angry shouts and the sound of weapons charging. Suddenly, a group of guards appeared in front of them, blocking their path. It looked like the end. But then, something amazing happened. The alien child they had rescued earlier stepped forward. She raised her hands, and a bright light came from them. The guards fell back, blinded. "She has powers," Dr. Kumar gasped. Using this surprise, the team and the children ran past the guards and into the forest. They could hear ships overhead, searching for them. When they finally reached the Shadow Whisper, they faced a new problem. Their ship wasn't big enough for all the children. "We can't leave any behind," Major Jackson said firmly. Captain Chen thought quickly. "We'll have to squeeze in. It'll be uncomfortable, but it's better than staying here." They worked fast, getting all the children into the ship. It was very crowded, but everyone fit. As the sounds of the search got closer, Captain Chen started the engines. The Shadow Whisper rose slowly, heavy with its precious cargo. Council ships appeared, firing at them. But with Captain Chen's skilled flying and the ship's advanced shields, they managed to escape. As they flew away from Zarthal, the children looked out the windows with wide eyes. Many of them were seeing the stars for the first time. Dr. Kumar sent a message to Earth. "Mission successful. We have rescued approximately 300 children, requesting immediate assistance and preparation for their arrival." Captain Chen looked back at the crowded ship, filled with tired but hopeful faces. "We did it," she said softly. "We really did it." As the Shadow Whisper sped towards Earth, the team knew their journey was far from over. But they had taken the first big step in fighting back against the Galactic Council's cruel practices. The rescued children were the living proof of the Council's crimes, and they were the spark that would ignite humanity's vengeance. The Shadow Whisper landed on Earth with a gentle thud. As the ship's doors opened, Captain Sarah Chen took a deep breath. She knew the next few hours would change everything. Behind her, hundreds of alien children blinked in the bright sunlight. Many had never seen a sky that wasn't covered by factory smoke. They looked around in wonder and fear. News cameras flashed as Sarah stepped out. Reporters shouted questions. But Sarah ignored them all. She walked straight to the group of world leaders waiting nearby. "It's all true," she said simply. "Everything we feared, and worse." Within hours, videos from the rescue mission were playing on every screen on Earth. People watched in horror as they saw alien children working in terrible conditions. They saw the bravery of Sarah's team as they fought to save the kids. In New York, a young girl named Maria watched the news with her parents. When she saw the tired faces of the alien children, she started to cry. "Why would anyone do that to kids?" she asked. Her father hugged her tight. "I don't know, sweetheart, but it looks like we're going to do something about it." All around the world, similar scenes played out. People were shocked, then angry. They demanded action. In London, thousands of people gathered outside Parliament. They carried signs that said, "Save the children," and "Stop the Galactic Council." An old man in the crowd told a reporter, "I've seen war. I've seen terrible things. But this is evil. We have to stop it." World leaders met in an emergency session. For once, they all agreed on something. The Galactic Council had to be stopped. "We are not alone in the universe," the President of the United States said in a speech. "But we have found that the galaxy is not the friendly place we hoped. There is great evil out there, and it is up to us to fight it." Scientists who had been working in secret now revealed their projects. New spaceships, faster and stronger than anything seen before. Weapons that could fight alien technology. "We've been preparing for this day," Dr. Aiden Kumar told a group of reporters. "We hoped it would never come. But now that it has, we're ready." All around the world, factories started to change. Instead of making cars or phones, they began to make parts for spaceships. People volunteered in huge numbers to join the new Space Force. But it wasn't just about fighting. People also wanted to help the rescued children. Families opened their homes. Doctors worked to heal the physical and emotional scars. One of the alien children, a small blue-skinned girl named Zara, became a symbol of hope. She went on TV and, speaking through a translator, told her story. "We didn't think anyone would ever help us," she said. "But you came. You saved us. Thank you." Her words touched hearts around the world. More than ever, people were determined to help. In schools, teachers began lessons about alien cultures. Kids learned about the different species that the Galactic Council had hurt. They wrote letters to the rescued children, telling them they were welcome on Earth. But even as Earth prepared for war, some people worried. "Can we really fight an enemy that controls most of the galaxy?" they asked. Sarah Chen, now a hero to millions, had an answer. In a speech to the United Nations, she said, "We are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every child on every planet who has ever been hurt or scared. We are fighting for what's right, and that makes us stronger than any enemy." Her words were met with cheers and applause. Earth was united like never before. As the sun set that day, millions of people around the world went outside. They looked up at the stars. Once, those points of light had seemed so peaceful. Now that they knew the truth, there was a war coming. A war for the future of every child in the galaxy. But Earth was ready. United, determined, and filled with a righteous anger, humanity prepared to take its first steps into a larger, more dangerous universe. The Galactic Council had no idea what was coming for them. The Earth was ready. After months of preparation, humanity was about to launch its first attack against the Galactic Council. The target, a massive council facility on a distant moon, known for its cruel treatment of child workers. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Justice Bringer, Earth's newest and most powerful warship. Around her, a fleet of smaller ships waited for her command. Each ship carried brave soldiers, all volunteers who had heard the stories of the rescued children and wanted to help. "All ships report ready, Captain," said Lieutenant Rodriguez, her second in command. Sarah nodded, her face serious. "Then let's bring some justice to the galaxy." With a word from Sarah, the fleet jumped into hyperspace. The stars stretched into lines of light around them as they traveled faster than anyone on Earth had ever gone before. Hours later, they arrived at their target. The moon hung in space before them, its surface covered in metal structures. At its center stood a huge building, the main council facility. "They haven't spotted us yet," Dr. Kumar said from his station. He had insisted on coming, saying his knowledge of alien tech would be useful. "Our new stealth systems are working perfectly." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Human ingenuity had created technology that even the advanced council couldn't detect. But she knew the element of surprise wouldn't last long. "All ships, prepare for attack," she ordered. "Remember our mission. Destroy the facility, but prioritize rescuing any children inside." The fleet moved forward, still undetected. They were halfway to the moon when alarms suddenly blared. "They've seen us," shouted Major Jackson, who was leading the ground assault team. Sarah didn't hesitate. "All ships, attack pattern Alpha. Fighters, launch." The space around the moon exploded into chaos. Human ships, smaller but faster than the bulky council vessels, darted between laser blasts. Fighters zoomed towards the surface, dodging defensive fire. On the Justice Bringer's main screen, Sarah watched as the first wave of fighters reached the facility. They dropped specially designed bombs that blew holes in the outer walls without damaging the inside. "Ground teams, you're clear to land," Sarah commanded. Dozens of transport ships shot towards the openings, carrying soldiers ready to fight and rescue. Major Jackson's voice crackled over the comm. "We're in. Resistance is heavy, but we're pushing through." The battle raged both in space and on the ground. Council ships, caught off guard, struggled to organize a defense, but they still outnumbered the human fleet. "Captain, our shields are down to 60%, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice tense. Sarah gripped her chair arms. "Reroute power from non-essential systems. We need to hold out until—" She was cut off by a shout from Dr. Kumar. "Captain, I've hacked into their main computer. I can shut down their weapons, but only for a few minutes." "Do it," Sarah ordered. Suddenly, the council ships stopped firing. Their weapons went dark. "All ships, this is our chance." Sarah's voice rang out across the fleet. "Concentrate fire on their engines and weapon systems." The human fleet attacked with everything they had. Council ships, unable to defend themselves, exploded or drifted powerless in space. On the ground, Major Jackson's team fought their way to the center of the facility. They found rooms full of scared alien children, just like on Zarthal. "We're getting them out," Jackson reported. "Hundreds of kids, maybe thousands." As the last of the transport ships took off from the moon, loaded with rescued children, Sarah gave the final order. "All ships, clear the area. Justice Bringer, prepare the main cannon." The fleet pulled back. On the Justice Bringer, a massive weapon powered up, drawing energy from the ship's core. With a blinding flash, it fired. The beam struck the council facility. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire structure collapsed in on itself, imploding into dust. A cheer went up across the fleet. They had done it. The first strike against the Galactic Council was a success. As the Justice Bringer turned to lead the fleet home, Sarah looked at the moon one last time. "This is just the beginning. she said quietly. "We won't stop until every child in the galaxy is free." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying with them the rescued children and the hope for a better future. Behind them, the destroyed Council facility served as a clear message. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, and they were a force to be reckoned with. The news of humanity's successful attack spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Galactic Council, once thought unbeatable, had been dealt a heavy blow, but they were far from defeated. In response, the Council launched a massive counterattack on Earth. Thousands of warships appeared in the sky, their weapons aimed at the planet below. But Earth was ready. The world had united like never before. Every country, every person, was prepared to fight for their home and for the freedom of all children in the galaxy. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Justice Bringer, leading Earth's main defense fleet. "They think they can scare us," she said to her crew. "Let's show them how wrong they are." The battle for Earth was fierce. Council ships filled the sky, but they were met with a wall of human determination. Earth's new ships, built with technology reverse-engineered from the Council, proved to be tough opponents. On the ground, Major Tom Jackson led the defense of key cities. Alien troops landed, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they found humans fighting with a passion they had never seen before. Dr. Aiden Kumar worked tirelessly in his lab, creating new weapons and defenses. His latest invention, a shield that could protect entire cities, was saving millions of lives. But the humans weren't fighting alone. As news of the war spread, other alien races who had suffered under the Council's rule began to rebel. They saw humanity's courage and decided it was time to fight for their own freedom. The Zarthulians, once loyal to the Council, were among the first to join Earth's side. Their ships arrived just as the battle for Earth seemed darkest, turning the tide in humanity's favor. Other races followed. The Kreks, with their powerful battle cruisers. The Volans, masters of stealth technology. The Graph, whose giant war beasts struck fear into Council troops. Sarah watched from the Justice Bringer as ships from a dozen alien races joined the human fleet. "Look at this," she said to her crew, smiling. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the whole galaxy." The war spread to hundreds of worlds. On each planet, the story was similar. Council forces would attack, expecting to crush any resistance. But they would find united armies of humans and aliens, all fighting together for freedom. One by one, Council-controlled worlds were liberated. With each victory, more races joined the alliance. Children of all species were freed from labor camps and reunited with their families. But the Council was still powerful. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years and weren't going to give up easily. They had weapons and technologies that humanity had never seen before. In a desperate move, the Council unleashed a terrible weapon. It was a beam that could destroy entire planets. They aimed it at Earth, hoping to end the war in one strike. The beam shot across space, heading straight for humanity's homeworld. It seemed like the end. But at the last moment, something incredible happened. The alien child that Sarah's team had rescued in the very beginning of their mission stepped forward. Now older and stronger, she raised her hands. A shield of pure energy surrounded Earth, stopping the Council's weapon. The alien girl's powers, born from the suffering in the labor camps, were strong enough to save an entire planet. This act changed everything. Seeing a child they had once enslaved now protecting an entire world, many in the Council lost the will to fight. Their fleet began to break apart as ships surrendered or fled. Sarah's voice rang out across the Allied fleet. "This is our chance. Push forward to the Council's capital. Let's end this war." The combined fleet of humans and aliens jumped to hyperspace, ready for the final battle. They knew it would be hard. The Council's homeworld was the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy. But as they prepared for the attack, Sarah looked around at her crew. Humans worked side by side with aliens of all kinds. All of them were united in their goal to bring freedom to the galaxy. No matter what happens, Sarah thought, We've already won. We've shown that the galaxy can come together, that we can be better than the Council ever was. The fleet came out of hyperspace, facing the Council's last stronghold. The final battle of the Galactic War was about to begin. The final battle for the galaxy raged around the Galactic Council's home planet. The sky was filled with thousands of ships from both sides. Lasers and explosions lit up the darkness of space. On the bridge of the Justice Bringer, Captain Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold. Her ship led the attack, with human and alien allies following close behind. We've come so far, she thought, remembering the first rescue mission that had started it all. Now they were fighting to free not just a few hundred children, but the entire galaxy. The Council's defenses were strong. They had built a massive shield around their planet, and their best ships guarded it. But the Alliance had a secret weapon. Dr. Aiden Kumar's latest invention. "Captain, the device is ready," Dr. Kumar said, his voice tense but excited. Sarah nodded. "Activated." A small probe shot out from the Justice Bringer. It flew straight towards the planet's shield. When it hit, instead of exploding, it started to glow. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a bubble popping, the entire shield disappeared. "It worked," Dr. Kumar shouted. "The shield is down." Sarah didn't waste a second. "All ships, move in. This is our chance." The Allied fleet surged forward. On the ground, Major Tom Jackson led the attack teams. They landed on the planet, fighting their way towards the Council's main building. The Council, seeing their defenses fall, tried one last desperate move. They threatened to destroy all the labor camps across the galaxy, with millions of children still in them. But they had underestimated their opponents. The alien child who had saved Earth stepped forward again. Using her powers, she connected with all the enslaved children across the galaxy. As one, the children rose up. In every camp, on every planet, they fought back against their guards. The Council's last grip on power crumbled. In the Council's main chamber, Sarah, Tom, and Aiden faced the Council leaders. These aliens had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They looked old and tired now. "It's over," Sarah said simply. "Surrender and face justice for your crimes." The Council leaders looked at each other. Then, slowly, they laid down their weapons. As news of the Council's defeat spread, celebrations erupted across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, people of all species cheered and danced in the streets. Parents hugged their freed children, tears of joy in their eyes. In the days that followed, the hard work of building a new galactic government began. Leaders from Earth and other worlds met to discuss the future. "We can't just go back to our own planets and forget this happened," Sarah said in one meeting. "We need to work together to make sure nothing like the Council ever happens again." The others agreed. A new galactic alliance was formed, with Earth playing a key role. The first law they passed was a galaxy-wide ban on child labor and exploitation. Dr. Kumar led efforts to heal the freed children, both physically and mentally. "They've been through so much," he said, "but kids are strong. With love and care, they can recover." Major Jackson took charge of dismantling the old Council's military. "We'll keep some ships for defense," he explained, "but we'll also turn a lot of them into schools and hospitals." Months passed, and the galaxy began to change. Trade between planets increased. Cultural exchanges became common. People of different species started to understand and appreciate each other. On the anniversary of the final battle, a grand ceremony was held on Earth. Leaders from across the galaxy attended. The alien child who had played such a crucial role was given a special honor. As Sarah watched the ceremony, she felt a mix of emotions: pride in what they had achieved, sadness for those lost in the war, but most of all, hope for the future. "We did it," she said softly to her friends. "We really did it." Aiden smiled. "We sure did. But our work isn't over." Tom nodded. "There's still so much to do, so many worlds to help rebuild." Sarah looked up at the stars, visible even in the daytime sky. Once they had seemed so far away. Now they were filled with friends and allies. "Then let's get to work," she said. "We've got a whole galaxy of possibilities ahead of us." As the ceremony ended, fireworks lit up the sky, but to Sarah, they paled in comparison to the stars above. Each one represented a world now free, a child now safe, a future now bright. The galaxy had entered a new era, and humanity, once a small, unknown species, had played a key role in making it happen. The end, and a new beginning.